Oh, I gotta turn my phone off.
All right, people. Well, hello and welcome back to the Zero Byte into another episode of the Zero Bytes podcast. I forgot how to do this.
There we go. You got it out. You got it out. Hey,
So
Steve, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How you been doing, buddy?
Well, as you can see, I finished up the studio area here and getting to
And
debut
Teddy
it for you
straight up
guys
with
here on
the
the
Teddy straight up
podcast.
with a nice sound dampening room.
Hey, well, it doesn't keep me from saying dumb stuff. It just sounds good when I do.
Now I am jealous.
You're a
I want the
screw
same thing
maintainer.
for
I'm jealous of
me.
what you can do. This is all window dressing. You've got the skill.
Well, I got the skills, but I need some window dressing. I want to be delicious.
Well,
Delicious
then
and
you gotta
nutritious.
move. You gotta move here. That's the deal. We got a
Yeah.
spare bedroom. Just move here.
Yeah. Uh I'll work on it. But
Tell us in the comments. Should Steve be my roommate? And should we make a separate podcast about those adventures?
ooh, that would be nice. Raise the money, the cash to go to Americas, and then we do roommatey thingsy.
This will be a great way to have Melissa find out that I just
We'll
cooked up
do an
that
episode.
idea.
Yeah, so we'll do an episode of the podcast. You sitting on one end of the table, me sitting on the other end.
Yeah. We'll give you your own corner of the podcast. It'll be great.
Yeah. Speaking of which, so
Watching Star Trek together. Yes.
What? I mean, watching Star Trek to get. Oh, definitely yes, and especially that on Picard Day on June 16th, there will be a new game announced that is going to mix timelines, and it's going to be an awesome game. I'm looking forward to that. I'll be buying this game right up. So what have you been up to in the Linux world for the past week, sir?
Well, as you know, I just this morning went ahead and installed the latest packages for XeroG and played around with Wayland.
We'll be talking about that in a bit. Yeah, this is an adventure all on its own.
Yeah, and then Melissa is going to be testing her
the
her
KDE
laptop
one.
with
Yeah,
same
the
deal.
KDE
Wayland.
one is the one that's going to hurt the most. But
I hope not. Now,
for me, it hurt. I'm gonna show on live on stream what happens to me because I have the video now. I'm gonna show the people what happens to me. It's weird. No one understands why it's happening. But we know what's happening.
I saw that.
The reason why
I saw that, and is it related to the well-known multi-monitor bug? Do you think?
It could be. It might as well be related to
when I saw it was doing that.
Yes,
that was my first. Suspicion.
And the reason why the other Kiadisa and Teddy cannot make heads or tails out of it because they don't have multiple monitors. I do.
Right.
So my issue could be related to multiple monitors. One monitor being stuck on X11 session, and the others on Wayland, or vice versa, or whatever. But we'll talk about this in a bit. This is a whole can of worms we're gonna open later, and it's gonna be a long chapter. once Teddy puts the chapters in, it's gonna be a long one. But
cool.
What I have been up to for the past week was big. I wrote that script, that Wayland script, and yesterday it took me 18 hours. So that was a can of worms I didn't want to go through, but had to.
But I mean, it makes sense.
A lot of things that happens, plasma shell crashing on startups, so it has to do with that probably. Yeah, Teddy, it's probably the multi-display. But there's that. Yeah.
I'll be able to test that with Melissa too.
Yeah, because you have multiple displays.
Well, she generally uses her laptop in single display mode,
No, I'm
but
saying because you have
if we're
multiple
playing,
displays, you can connect it to your multiple displays and
I could
test.
do that, or we can just send it to the TV because usually if she's using a second display, it's our TV.
Okay, we'll get to that after the podcast. But for and the other thing I was doing, reworking all the rices, re-optimizing all the rices from the ground up. One of them being sweet, and that you saw
That's my
before we
favorite.
started.
My very,
Uh,
very favorite.
yeah, well, you have to go jump out of the monitor and hug Teddy because all the work is his. I didn't do nothing.
Daddy!
Teddy! The most awesomest person, I will keep repeating it over and over on every episode of the podcast. The most awesomest person you could ever meet, and the most helpful person is one of the most helpful people is Teddy Bear. The other one, Key, because Key are very attention detailed oriented. They pay attention to details, especially when it comes to what can I say, to security of sort of things. So yeah, we're building a team slowly. We're building a good solid team on XeroLinux, but not a team where the team is forced to stick to XeroLinux and nothing but XeroLinux. An open team. I call it an open team where each and every person on that team are free to do whatever they want, whenever they want. Not
Yeah.
stuck on XeroLinux. I'm not the type of person that likes to force people to work on XeroLinux, and if you work on anything else, you're fired. Not that kind of person. Sorry. If you think I am like that, yeah,
Well, I
think again.
mean, the way that we play with other distros and stuff and other projects, we'd be fired ourselves if that were the
We'll be
rule.
fired
So,
ourselves because the other projects are like, hey, you're working on our project. What the hell are you doing working on another project? Get back here.
because sometimes I want to work on two projects, leave me alone.
And yeah, Teddy is the artistic attention to detail.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Teddy makes sure he's the reason why all the rices are consistent. Like even the
Got it.
cappuccino is so consistent, it's unbelievable. Now sweet and soon laying.
I
Nord
love it.
Nord is not gonna change. The Nord theme rice is very heavy on resources, and I mention it on the website. So if people really want to use it, they better have a lot of resources to spare. Can't be achieved on lower end hardware at all. But everything else is very balanced. But for very, very old laptops, I don't recommend anything but and the Dunes Rice is getting a rework complete from the ground up, but not by me, by Gamer King, because it's his baby. So
Makes
he's
sense.
reworking it from the ground up. So yeah, I've been working on the rices, on the scripts in the tool, and thanks to Teddy again, we will have a feature in the tool where you click a button, you get taken to a page with thumbnails for each rice, and you select which one you want to apply. You hit apply, it will apply that rice for you from within the tool. So all that is thanks to Teddy as well. I think of Teddy as the vagabond helper. He jumps from project to project, and he loves helping, and he loves giving back.
Like a jack of all trades, yeah.
A jack of all trades, yeah. So yesterday I had to apologize to him and Key because I do tend to raise my voice when I get frustrated and there are things that I don't understand. So yeah, there's that. I am a very ill-tempered person.
Putting 18 hours into a project is going to piss you off a little bit.
Not about. It's before then that I started yelling. It's because the whole idea of Wayland scares the shit out of me, and I know my GPU is on the cusp of being dropped. So
Yeah, and mine will be shortly after yours.
yeah. So I'm like, yeah, I don't want to deal with that because it's a big can of worms that I don't think I'll be able to get myself out of. Especially that we have to think about laptops out there as well.
Yeah.
Laptops are completely different than desktops. You got the hybrid, as we saw before the podcast. It's completely different. It is.
Yeah,
uh, It's
right
like you
now
got
I'm running in
dedicated
hybrid
graphics, you
mode,
got
and
hybrid, you got integrated graphics.
yeah,
It's
uh, I've had nothing but problems with respect to power management on Intel or on Nvidia only. And so I'm almost stuck running in hybrid just for the power management settings. But, I can go into DGPU on demand when I want to. If you use the switcheroo control,
yeah.
then it gives you a right click option to launch a program with your discrete card. And I think that's the missing piece that I needed.
Yeah, and not only that, there's also there's somebody
What are you,
on.
what are you looking at? You trying to
No,
read
I
the
was
chat?
just raising the volume, and because OBS is behind my phone, I cannot see the volume knobs. But there's one person that is very known in the Fedora land who mentioned one thing once. I don't know if somebody mentioned it before him or he was the one who said it initially. I'm just saying that what I read, that when it comes to Linux, laptops are in the same boat as Nvidia. He gave the finger. He gave the finger
Nvidia
to laptops.
laptops, I would say. Intel, no way.
No, no.
Intel on
He's
laptops
specifically
is
talking about
amazing.
he's specifically talking about Nvidia hybrid laptops.
Oh yeah, Optimus is a pain. It's a pain point for Windows users. It's a pain point for the Hackintosh community.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
that's
it's everywhere.
probably why. But honestly, Optimus graphics are probably why I don't do Hackintosh anymore.
I used to do Hackintosh on desktops. I never owned a laptop to do a Hackintosh on, but
Yeah, I had my 2011 MacBook for that until it finally died from a glass of water.
yeah. Speaking of Hackintoshes, the pain point for me when it came to Hackintoshes is the bootloader.
Actually,
Uh,
have you seen this is a little bit of a segue, but it's Linux related, I promise. Have you tried, since you have a desktop and only one GPU, have you tried the new way that they're doing Hackintosh by Proxmox?
I don't need to. I have a MacBook, so I don't like to mess with
Oh,
with
you
that.
got the real stuff. All right.
I I got the real stuff. It's dying now. The screen is flickering, but once it
Yeah.
dies, I'm gonna throw it in the garbage because, to be honest, I'm gonna be very frank. If it weren't for my iPhone, I don't need a Mac.
Yeah.
My MacBook is just there to be able to back up my phone because backing up to the cloud on a connection like Lebanon, good luck. It
Yeah.
would take
That makes
400
sense.
years maybe. But yeah, no, I don't care about my Mac. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying for me, for my use
No, no,
case, I
they're
don't
great.
need them. I don't need them. MacBooks are great. They just work. Like my MacBook has been running a Mac OS beta since the day I bought it. I never installed a stable version of Mac OS ever. The day I got it, I installed the profile to be able to install beta software, and it's been on beta software ever since. And Apple's betas rivals any other betas out there,
Oh yeah, they're very good.
with one exception: iOS 17, the one they released a few days ago. Um, Let me be
Sonoma?
clear. It's the buggiest beta I've ever suffered on my phone.
Well, I mean, you're an early adopter.
Well, I'm telling you, I installed betas since the day I got my phone. All the betas were
You're
stable except that one.
you're running Mac OS Arch.
Yeah, if you. But it to me, I'm happy on anything Apple related because I don't use them. I just need them for the purpose I got them for and nothing more.
Right.
So
That
they
makes
do what
sense.
they were made to do and nothing more, and they're stable and they live very long. Imagine
And they do
Apple
it
is still
very, very well. They're purpose built.
yeah, and imagine that Apple is still pushing security updates to the iPhone 6 Plus today.
Wow. So then, if I ever revived my 10 from the dead,
You will receive security updates.
wow.
Go to let Android do that. Android will never do that. You get 3 years and 2 years extra, so 5 total years. So 3 years of OS updates and 2 years of security updates, 5 years total. I guess Apple is coming to 12, 15 years on the iPhone 6 Plus.
Wow.
So I'm like, nobody rivals Apple there. I'm not saying Apple is the best, but there was a recent keynote. I'm not gonna get into this. This is a Linux podcast, but
Yeah.
their VR headset.
Are
I don't
you
wanna
excited about it?
go over this because it got me angry. It got me really angry.
Oh.
Uh,
Okay.
I'm not gonna
Where's
talk about it
Josh?
here.
You know, if Josh shows up, he's going to have something to say.
Yeah, but for me, that's not the way technology should advance. But this is my opinion, and I keep it to myself because I know I'll get hate and attack for it. So I'm not gonna go there. But suffice it to say that Apple nailed it. Apple nailed it, and they know how to catch people at their weakest point. So
Well, yeah, you can say that. They're
yeah,
they're in business to make money. They know how to make money.
yeah, they wait in the. I love how smart Apple is. They wait in the darkness. They keep waiting in the darkness, in the shadows, not doing anything, not speaking, not leaking, not doing anything, watching all the others do things and fail, do things and fail, do things and fail, and then they learn from all the other people's failures, and then they sneak out from the darkness with the ultimate weapon. They are good. Oh my lord. And people make fun of them. Oh, it takes Apple 500 years to come up with something that we already had for 500 years. Well,
Yeah,
there's a
but
reason for that.
they polished it.
They polished it and they did it better than all the rest. So,
Yeah, and
excuse me.
to a certain degree, I'd say Ubuntu does versions of that,
Debian
and
does
Pop
versions of that.
OS.
Debian does.
Debbie, you want to talk about taking forever to bring something out? Getting a stable release updated on a Debian install?
It takes them forever, but it's like Apple.
Yeah,
They wait, they wait, they wait, they wait, and they sneak up on you, and they have everything stable. And dude, I will not say a word because I haven't tested it yet.
still to this day, I have never used straight up Debian. I've never even booted
That's what I
straight
want
up
to do. I
Debian.
want to challenge myself to use Debian stable, KDE 527. And imagine that. The only desktop environment that's up to date on Debian 12 Bookworm is KDE. The rest are out of date.
Go figure.
So for GNOME, I think they're using GNOME 43. And for the up to date, of course, XFCE will be up to date because they release updated version once every 4 years. so, so XFCE and KDE are the only up to date versions on Bookworm. So I'll be testing the KDE version naturally. So you are muted. Microphone
Weird.
died. Oh,
Nope.
okay, now it's back.
Still here.
So
And to avoid embarrassing stuff, I've got my spare mic sitting here charging just as a backup. We're good.
So Debian Bookworm, I want to download it, but the ISO is not up. The articles are up about it being released. I went to their official website. It's still 11.7. So They might have jumped the gun right there. Maybe to create hype, because you need to create hype so people visit your articles.
Of course, that makes sense.
Anyway, as soon as it's up, I'll download it, and I want to. I just got myself a brand new spare SSD.
Nice. How big?
It's a 240.
Nice.
It's a
Just trying to
Hikvision,
turn
those
my head. I'm just
cheapo
like, I'm
ones.
gonna do the rest of the episode like this.
Why? Don't tell. Because I forgot the rotation lock.
No, you're good. You're good.
Like this is better.
No, it's not. But I'm not gonna. Thank you.
Better.
Cool. Yeah.
So it's a Hikvision 240. It's a DRAMless one. You know those cheapo ones. This 240 costs $8.
With the SLC NAND or whatever.
TLC triple.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but triple means slower. So the denser you go, the slower you get. So this is TLC and no DRAM cache. So it's a straight up flash drive. It's a straight up SATA based flash drive.
Well, I mean, it's still not a platter based drive.
True. I got it only to install. There was a challenge I had to go through for Matt's podcast.
Oh yeah.
And when I mention what the challenge was, you'll guess how long I lasted on it. Crunchbang plus Linux, which is running OpenBox.
That's great.
How long do you think I lasted on that?
I'm gonna say 3 hours.
3 minutes.
3 minutes?
I saw it's a WM. I went right. I ran as far as I could. Ran away from it. I'm not touching window managers
for a little while. No, I used Crunchbang for a while before we met.
Yeah, well, I'm not touching window managers. It's not Crunchbang. Nothing wrong with Crunchbang. I really love the welcome dialog where it's just a terminal. You hit yes or no if you want to install whatever they prompt you to install. I like that.
Oh, and it's quick.
Quick?
Because there's nothing there.
There's nothing there. It's the flash. It's like, zoom! What just happened?
Yeah.
So I was like, where's my app menu? Where's my file browser? Where's my display settings? And you know how OpenBox, everything is in the right click context menu? And when I install, it doesn't have Flatpak support out of the box.
Nope.
So I had to install FlatHub and enable the repository and all that. And all the applications I installed, since it wasn't available in the path, so everything I installed didn't show up in the app menu in the right-click context. So I had to add to path, do everything from scratch. I was like, eject hard drive, bye-bye. No, thank you. Oh, no.
No. Oh, man. You know, that should be a perk with Patreon and your paid tiers.
What?
Is little challenges like that. You know, for a
you want to challenge me? Pay me to challenge me?
Make Steve install some, obscure version of Linux in real time. No, in real time, we get to see the sweating and the swearing and the confusion.
Oh, you're gonna hear a lot of swearing, but it's gonna be in Arabic, so most people are not gonna understand anything.
I don't know. What do you guys think? You know, as one of the little side projects for the podcast, should we just, pay to torture Steve?
Pay to torture Steve. Yeah, please pay to torture Steve. If you really want to torture me, ask me to try all the window managers in the world. That's torture. And I kept, for some reason, when I was talking to Matt, I was like, your Crunchbang plus challenge is torture like BDSM.
Oh, wow.
I was like, window managers, BDSM.
Can we say that on YouTube?
Doesn't matter. If they want to demonetize, let them demonetize. It's not like I'm making like 25 cents on each episode. So
yeah, I don't know if we can say that on YouTube.
The maximum they can do is demonetize. So.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, stop that, BDSM.
Hyperland, here we go. But you
Oh,
like Hyperland.
Christina,
Hey,
Christina,
Christina.
I cannot test your ISO because Nvidia, and I don't want to mess with that.
Yeah.
Hyperland, Nvidia. If KDE gave me nightmares on, is giving me
Oh.
nightmares on Wayland. Hyperland is even worse.
Yeah.
If I had a
Let's see.
desktop, well, I do have a desktop but with an ATI card, old
Oh.
ATI card. I don't think it supports Wayland. It's very old. It's from 2004, 2005.
We're gonna have to employ Star Trek mechanics. Hey, Linux Tube, what's up?
Oh,
So we're gonna have to
Alex.
employ
He's at work. He's just jumping in here to show some love. Love you, buddy. Kuya!
only for
Love ya for
Christina's
jumping in.
Intel laptop.
If only for my Intel. It is only for my. Okay, if I had a laptop, if I could buy a laptop that has only one GPU, but unfortunately, single GPU laptops these days don't exist. They're a rarity.
Well, the Intel are single GPUs,
Yeah, I'm talking about
and
dedicated GPUs.
well, then get a Ryzen laptop with only the Ryzen APU or a
Well, yeah,
Radeon
the
higher
Ryzen
end or
APU is
something.
more powerful than the Intel one. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I mean the old ass games that we like, it'll be fine.
Alex is asking Steve, why don't you like window managers? Because they suck.
What a compelling argument.
That's as far as I'm gonna go with it. They're too simple. They suck. You need to spend 45 hours instead of customizing the look via drag and drop and doing it like in 5 minutes. You have to spend 45 hours opening this config and that config and key bindings here and key bindings there and I want to edit the geometry of this window of this panel here and that via
Laughs in
numbers via
Hyperland.
Alex. I respect that you love window managers and i3 and Qtile and all that stuff.
It's a
For me, they
it,
suck.
it's
For
a
me,
little
they
bit
suck.
of a Linux Scouts badge to be able to set up window managers like that.
Dude, if I could set up window managers with a click of a button or by drag and dropping and just calling it a day, I would use them. But they're
Oh,
keyboard centric and config centric.
yeah. You know what? Here we go. I want to poke some fun at the chat a little bit more. And if Melissa's here, I know she's going to jump in for this. What would you rather do, Steve? Configure a window manager based Linux, or try to make Star Trek 4's slingshot around the sun time travel make sense?
The second one.
Really? Okay.
I can't. I
Someday
can't.
I
I
want
can't.
somebody, no, I want somebody to make that time travel model make sense to me. That you've just done a couple donuts around the sun and that's time travel. I
It
I
doesn't have
don't
to make
buy it.
sense. It's a science fiction TV show. Uh, but the reason I wouldn't touch, in all seriousness, the reason I don't like to
Okay.
touch window managers is not because it's you need to spend 45 hours. It's like every window manager is uses a different language. One uses
Well,
Python.
okay, now that's fair.
Another one uses what's it called? It
So yeah.
uses awesome WM. I forgot what it uses. The
So before you can even talk to it, you have to learn how to talk to it.
exactly. You have to learn a lot of things. Whereas KDE, you don't do any desktop environments. Sorry, desktop environments. You don't have to learn anything. You just drag and drop, export the settings. You're done. Import the settings. You're done. With window managers, this is in Python. This is in Golang. This is in whatever. This is in Lisp. This is in like if you want to change, if you want to switch window managers, you have to learn a brand new language from scratch.
Yeah.
No, that's not who I am, and I'm
Oh
saying
man.
for me. I'm not generalizing. Please don't take it as a general thing. I didn't mean that they suck in general. I meant they suck for me because it's
Yeah.
not what I do. When I need to, like, I spent 18 hours yesterday to write the Wayland script. I didn't mind it because it was Bash script. It was very
Yeah.
human understandable script. So do if this, then that, else do this. So
And
I had to ask yeah.
before Nvidia had the GUI based ways to manage the drivers, it used to be when you were using Linux, and this is aging me a little bit, that you had to do it with root access through a command line.
Yes.
You drop out to a TTY, you run everything manually, and you hope that when you try to
You
go
cling
back
to hope.
and
Yeah.
you try to log back into an X session and hope that the entire thing didn't just blow up and brick your install.
Exactly. So
I,
I'm
I
like,
was I was a Linux user in those days, and I don't think you were yet.
no, but I'm gonna compare it to a thing very similar in the Windows world. In the Windows world, it was way more involved just installing Windows. Today, it's just next, 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 done.
I
You,
installed Windows from at least CDs, if not floppy disks,
yeah,
and you'd
no,
have
it's
your
not about that.
multi-disc stuff.
It was way more user involved. So for Windows 98, for example, you had to boot from the disk and then CD into the disk and run setup.exe. And when it came to hard drive partitioning, you had to do it all via command line and stuff like that. It was way more involved. And when you wanted to configure audio on Windows 98, you had to go into the config.sys and do all and enable himem.sys, patch the himem.sys, and this and that. It was way more involved. Today with Windows, from Windows what? From Windows 2000 onwards, it's just next, next, next,
Yeah,
next, next, next. It's just dulled down the install process. The way we do with Calamares for Arch, we dumbed down the installation of Arch.
yeah,
So
because at the end of the day, we're lazy users in a way too. We
yeah,
don't want to
and
do
we're
all that
doing it.
stuff. We just want to.
We're doing
We
it
just.
for one word, and it's called convenience.
You mean eye candy?
No, no, no. I'm not talking about the eye
Eye
candy.
candy
I'm
with
talking about
convenience.
convenience. It's convenient to be easier to install. It's convenient for us to do
Right.
less. It's convenient for us to be lazy. We're gonna reach a point. If you remember Wall-E, the people wearing red, the fatsos living in that who didn't know that walking was a thing anymore. They considered
Uh,
gravity something
okay.
completely
Yep.
new because they were born in space without gravity. Uh, Walking to them was a whole new invention
Yeah.
because it was convenient to roll to ride those hovercrafts and whatever. It was convenient to just order everything on the screen in front of their eyes. They were living their lives on that screen in front of their eyes. They wanted to talk to each other. They didn't. They were next to each other, but they wouldn't look each other in the eyes. They would message each other on this machine, although they were next to each other, right next to each other. So I'm like, this is it's out of convenience. The word is convenience. This word is so dangerous. It has
Yeah.
so many sharp corners. There's no way it's not dangerous. But that's only my own opinion. Other people are gonna argue it. It's healthy to have various points of views.
Oh, sure.
That's
Yeah.
my point of view. But
And that's why we do these podcasts. We get to hash it out, explore it, see where things
yeah,
go.
when it comes to Linux, you know what makes me love Linux more than any other operating system? It's not because it's freedom only. It's because it keeps us involved. It keeps us up on our toes. It keeps our brains functioning. Whereas Windows, they make everything so easy that we become
Win-
so dependent on ease. But for uh, for Linux, it's always involved. Your brain is always thinking. Like yesterday, when I was working on that script, I felt energetic because my brain was constantly working. It wasn't like, ChatGPT, do this for me. Okay, copy paste. I'm done. Bye. No. So Linux is healthy. I call it healthy because it's more involved, and we are always meeting. People are meeting people, talking, discussions here and there, being part of communities, give and take, fixing this, fixing that, getting frustrated. Our emotions are always in check. But if we use anything like Windows or Mac that just do what they do and they do it without fail, we're like, okay, let them fix it. I'll just wait. Okay, they fixed it. Cool. So a constantly evolving operating system like or environment like Linux is superb. I will never leave Linux ever. There's no way you can pry Linux out of my cold dead hand.
I gotta tease you for just a second because there used to be no way that XeroLinux was ever gonna have GNOME. There was gonna be no way that there were ever gonna be spins.
Well, I'm gonna tell you from the get go. Those spins, they exist. They don't require a lot of work because they're
No,
good.
you're not doing the work.
They're doing the work. I'm just adding. I added just what needed to be added to make them good. But those, for example, GNOME, although it is what it is, and it just works, but it's still involved because it still has things that are evolving, like uh,
Of
which
course.
is a great segue to one of the subjects we want to talk about, GNOME. I'm gonna leave the GNOME to you. I'm gonna leave the GNOME to you, the GNOME aspect to you, because you use GNOME more than I did. But all I'm going to
It's
say is,
because honestly, it is because I can't afford a Mac. And
well, that
I can't do on a Mac what I want to do either.
yeah.
So, it feels like a Mac with the freedom of Linux, and that's right where I wanted to be.
And not only that, did you notice? Well, you just installed XeroG with the latest, and you just updated it to the latest GNOME 44.2, but specifically 44.2 is very important. Why? Because since I created for oh, thank you, Alex. Uh, so with GNOME 44.2, something happened.
It's fast now.
Super fast. Like Vivaldi used to take 15 seconds to load. Now it takes 4 or 5 seconds to load. The mouse is like flying like the Flash. So I'm like, what the hell did they do?
Yeah.
And I tried
I'm
Wayland on
Oh boy.
Nvidia, on Nvidia, and
And it was okay.
OBX, and OBS works. Everything
I
works.
I am I am actually using today for the podcast. If the camera actually looks better, I'm using the OBS virtual camera. I'm using it under Wayland on 44.2.
Yeah.
I'm That's what we're doing today, and the camera adjustments were better. My FPS went up in the for previous podcasts. I've only been able to capture at 30, and with the same hardware, I'm now capturing at 60.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know what GNOME, what black magic they did, but they support Wayland on Nvidia once you do what needs to be done, of course, that what my script does on desktops, not on laptops. For laptops, it's a whole different can of worms that Jesse and I discovered today. It's a completely different story. But when it comes to desktops with single Nvidia GPUs, I was like, Wayland just works. on KDE, and which brings me to, I want to show that video. Where is it? Videos and desktop screen. Okay. What? Oh, shit. No. I'm not gonna say the word, the name of the app it opened with, but
Oh,
VLC. Okay, 1 second. Ooh. What the hell? Why is it opening VLC twice?
because you told it to open VLC twice.
Oh, maybe. Okay. So I'm going to show the people what happens. I'm going to start the video from the beginning. So I'm logging into Wayland right now.
Oh man! Oh, that horrible
Flickering.
See, guys, if you are flash sensitive, this is not a video you want to watch.
Oh, thank you for mentioning that. Yeah. And then I get
Maybe put
the
that in the show notes for people that are watching it later. It's
yeah.
it's a ride.
Ooh. Okay. So as you saw, I tried to log in once to Wayland. It works, minus the fact that for whatever reason, Latte Doc wants to stick to the right, the screen to the right, no matter what I do. But as soon as I log into X11 session and log out and try to log back into Wayland, it gives me that issue. So it's related to multiple screens. The multiple screen issue, we need to figure out a fix for that. But otherwise,
Yeah.
on GNOME, it works flawless. Multiple screens. It doesn't give a damn how many screens you got. It doesn't give a damn.
Yeah.
It just works, and I love what the GNOME people are doing. The GNOME people are doing things, and I love their concentration on their thing and their thing alone. They're not straying. They're not going all over the place. They're doing one thing and they're doing it good, which is the Unix way of doing things.
Yeah, and I'm super excited about it. I'm looking forward to adding a few more displays to the studio here,
Yeah,
and I'm gonna have to stay on GNOME if I want that to
dude.
consistently
If you want
work.
stability, stay on GNOME. Don't
How
even
many
think
displays
about
do you have
KDE.
access to there? What have you tested?
What?
How many displays have you tested at once? Have you borrowed any from the shop or anything like that?
No, only those three. The three I have. But if you want stability, especially if you want Wayland, stick with GNOME. Stick with GNOME. Don't go anywhere. There's a lot of people who hate GNOME and the mentality behind. I don't care about the mentality behind GNOME. I at some point, like when I was during the GNOME challenge, when I was using GNOME for a whole month, I got a backlash from GTK developers, and I was like, I
Oh
will
yeah,
stop
hey,
using
stop
GNOME
trying to theme
of that
stuff.
mentality. Then I rethought the idea. I was like, why? Why should I let those negative a hats stop me from using something that is very stable? I'm not gonna let them get to me and stop me from using something that is very stable. So as a result, I kept XeroG on this, and I'm never going to restore it. This SSD will forever have XeroG on it.
Yeah.
Because when I
No,
want
I mean,
stability, I go here.
I will say that there are times when if I don't want Wayland for something, if you want a straight up
X11.
GTK, Nvidia, and X11 experience, Budgie over GNOME by far
And Budgie
because it's
and
solid
Budgie are
GTK3. There's no experimental
no
stuff. You
Budgie is
can
moving is
theme the daylights out of it.
Yeah, and Budgie are switching to a different language. I forgot. Once it was KDE, and then they changed their mind. They went to another one and another one. They cannot make up their minds. But now,
However, they also handle NVIDIA Optimus better for some reason, and I haven't figured it out because I don't even have to configure it. It just works better, and there's a GPU switcher up in the top panel for Budgie, and I'm surprised that Gnome doesn't have that baked in.
well, sorry people, if you hear the bells, it's because it's church. The church is literally out the window. I can see it from here, so if you can hear it, it's gonna pass. But yeah, Budgie, I don't know. It's Budgie. They're really out of date right now. They're working on something new,
Mhm.
and it's coming. It's coming, but when we don't know, because Josh was working with Budgie recently, so he knows best.
Yeah.
Nobara KDE is a good option. Nobara KDE is pretty good. Not on my Nvidia GPU. For some reason, it failed at installing the drivers for me. When I used the GNOME edition, it worked, but the KDE version didn't work. But GNOME has reached a point where I
If
want
stability
stability.
is
I
what
want
you
to
need, it
relax.
is a solid choice.
I want to relax. After working on KDE for so long, I want to relax. I shove this into my computer and I boot it off of it, and I'm relaxing and just use it as the way it was shipped, and you won't have any issues. If you start adding extensions and themes, and okay, it's like taking a car and then and you start adding mods to it. Of course, it's gonna start misbehaving and misfiring and stuff like that. It's natural. It's a natural progression of things. You start adding more points of failure, so you should expect that. But with KDE, it's unstable by nature, but beautiful and modifiable and customizable to your heart's content. It tends to be that. I don't mean it is that. I'm just with me experiencing it for the past 2.5 years. I know the developers are working on it, and I respect them for that. Utmost respect for the KDE developers. Uh, and I'm not saying that they're doing things wrong. It's us, the users, who are doing things wrong. And what do I mean? I mean, we users like to complain
Bluetooth mode.
without doing anything
Oh,
about it. Without doing
sorry,
anything
my
about it.
my Bluetooth decided it just wanted to wake itself up.
But it's our job to tell the developers what is broken where. Go to the bug reporting and report the bugs. Learn how to report bugs. Don't expect the developers to guess what the problem is and to fix it. So the reason KDE is the way it is because not everyone is reporting the bugs. Like I didn't want to report the bug that I had with SDDM-Git with the multiple monitors, but I had to in the end because, well, I didn't post. I just commented on the one that was already posted, and if I tell you how old that issue was, you're gonna laugh. That issue was 3 years old with SDDM. So I
Necrobones.
just
Got it.
commented, and it's still going on. The discussion is still going on. The post before mine was like less than a week old.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah, there are issues on KDE that are years old, years and years old. But there's only so much a community-based desktop environment can do.
Yeah.
It's community-based. It's not like there's a company constantly working with paid employees and stuff like that.
Right.
It's all community driven, so it's
Things take
natural
time
for
or money or resources or all of those or any combination of those.
yeah, exactly.
And
So
you work
if
with
there's
what you have.
yeah, so they're doing it on their free time. When they have free time, they're contributing, and that's why things tend to take longer and longer and longer. Is GNOME like KDE? No. GNOME has backers. GNOME has a lot of things behind it. KDE doesn't. KDE is like just people like you and I contributing code whenever we can. Like Nicolo is contributing code to the panel, to the KDE panel, to the tiling thing. He's contributing code. He's studying. He doesn't have all the time. He has a life outside of KDE, so it's not our job to complain.
Linux
Hey,
people,
fix it.
we do have lives.
Yeah, and no, we do have lives, but it's our job to, when we encounter an issue, is to report that issue. If we don't report it, how are they gonna guess what to fix and what is broken, how to fix it? Go back and forth with the bug reporter and stuff. It will help projects get fixed much faster. Don't just say, "Hey, fix it." They will ask you, "Fix what?" This thing, whatever, thingy majiggy. No, send them logs. They need to read logs. They need to contact you and stay in contact with you to show you how to get the logs and what to send and how to troubleshoot. If you don't want to troubleshoot and you expect magically things to be fixed, you can't be using Linux. You can't be using Linux. Go back to Windows. If you're not willing to report bugs, what the hell? Go back to Windows. Anyway, that's my thing. And in the thumbnail, there's something that mentioned something about Wayland coming to XeroLinux. Not yet, not by default, but we're working thanks to everyone on the team, like Key, Teddy, and others. The script is becoming smarter and smarter with every passing day. So now before it didn't auto detect, it just did pacman -s and installed the Wayland packages. Now it will detect if you have an Nvidia card or not. If you do, it will warn you that it's risky, but it will still give you the option to go through with it, and it will do the necessary to attempt to enable Wayland on your system.
And I like that it gives you links to documentation that you should read.
Yes. So the script has become super smart. If no Nvidia driver was detected, it will do just a couple of lines to enable Wayland for you, if it's not already enabled, auto-detected. But it's specifically made for people with Nvidia like me. It worked for me for like 5 minutes, as you saw, and afterwards I got the problem. But it's proof that the thing works. My problem is a different problem. It's a multi-monitor problem. It has nothing to do with the script. And I had 3 testers. I was lucky enough. Yesterday I made an announcement on the server and on Fostodon that we needed testers. I got 3 testers so far.
Oh, cool.
Unfortunately, they're with laptops, so.
Oh, well.
On laptops, that's
I think somebody from the Zero Discord besides me and Melissa has an Optimus. Is it Gamer King or Teddy? One of them has
Teddy
Optimus as well.
I think Teddy. Oh no, not Teddy. There was another person that contacted me yesterday. Ashley, I think her name was. Ashley has a Optimus laptop, an Asus Optimus laptop. The worst.
Well, that's its own can. That's its own can of worms. So.
Yeah. So. Laptops are not what I'm targeting right now. I'm targeting desktops with a single GPU. Anybody with a desktop and a single Nvidia GPU, please contact me on Discord if you're willing to test. And keep in mind that this might break the install at any point and it becomes unstable.
Have
you must be ready to
reinstall medium.
Yeah.
Have a reinstall handy.
Yeah, a reinstall handy. If you can't use Linux, go back to Windows. Not very humble. Wow. No, I didn't mean that, Alex. Come on, you're taking it out of context. All I said was if you're not ready to send bug reports and help projects continue, and you just wanna see the issues and complain about them and badmouth developers and be on your day, go back to Windows. You took it out of context, Alex. Careful. I don't want people to understand me wrong. So yeah, there's a lot of things wrong with the way people use Linux today and what they expect out of Linux. They need to wake up and start helping projects. If they don't want to donate to projects financially, they can donate some of their time and help by sending bug reports. The more bug reports you send and logs,
they're important.
They're really important. Trust me. Like, I sent a bug report once to, I remember back when I was troubleshooting Top Grade, which is included on XeroLinux. We had to troubleshoot it for days before it was stable because it switched maintainers. The original maintainer left it and somebody else took over. They had to learn everything from scratch. So I helped them by reporting bugs. They fixed it within 24 hours.
It happens like that sometimes, and it's really cool. You will not see that on
very often.
Windows stuff.
Sometimes it takes ages to fix stuff.
Well, or on Windows stuff, really at all, unless you're on, GitHub or something like that.
With Windows,
you're not going to see it.
No. Here's the thing with Windows. You know that when you run Windows Insider Preview, when you use the Windows Insider Preview, they have this submit your feedback. You submit your feedback, most of it goes nowhere.
It goes to like a hole in the sky.
Yeah, it's like some of it lands, but it's like a game of chance. Whereas
I remember the insider previews. I remember I used to be insider preview for a long time. I was a Windows Phone absolute fanboy. I loved Windows Phone so much.
I had the big one, the big blue one that was this huge.
The 640 XL. Yeah, I had that too.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. They had the hardware right because a partnership with Nokia was great. They had the hardware right. The software was fantastic. What they didn't have was market share because they got in it too late. They didn't have apps, and it just killed the whole project.
The app ecosystem was completely dead. But
the apps were terrible.
I loved their UI. Their touch interface.
Oh, the UI was
the
great.
Tiles, they were amazing.
The tiles on Windows Phone were great. It did not work in 8. I think it was a terrible design choice.
On desktop, it didn't
work. Desktop,
it did work, however, on the tablet. It did work on the tablets, however.
Well, again, because it was just a larger version of what you were doing on the phones.
Yeah. So I'm like, they did right, but they did it too late. And the app ecosystem was not there. It was a bunch of web apps and web.
Yeah, they did not take the future seriously, and it left them behind.
It was a game for them. But dude, I don't like to badmouth anyone. Everybody everywhere is doing a great job, be it KDE people, be it the Gnome people, but there are developers that are more opinionated than others. I don't know why you're becoming pixelated.
Are you getting throttled? It's around that time.
No, fixed it. It's the web cord doing its thing.
Okay.
But everyone is good. It's just being opinionated doesn't help the project. But as long as the project is working and they're doing their job.
Yeah, sometimes we get opinionated. That's what we do here.
Yeah, I am opinionated. And Teddy and Key know that very well. I am very opinionated. But I am opinionated internally, but I am not opinionated to the public. Whereas some developers, like the GNOME developers, they are very openly opinionated, and that doesn't paint beautiful pictures about them. Whereas the KDE developers are the opposite. There's no opinion, not opinionated. They are welcoming to everything and everyone, which also is a double-edged sword. It can hurt the project and it could be good for the project. It depends how they use it. So, but that's the beauty of Linux. You got the whole rainbow.
Oh, yeah.
The whole colors of the rainbow on Linux. It's wonderful. It's a wild west, but it's a good wild west.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
For
got
all
the
its
bad ones,
rough edges,
the bad
there's so
seeds,
much
the
you
good
can do.
seeds. But we're all
And then at the end
entangled
of it,
together. We talk to each other. Like,
yeah.
I would have never dreamt to talk to actual project developers until I came to Linux. I'm talking to the GNOME developers. I'm talking to the KDE developers. I'm talking to some Ubuntu developers from time to time. I'm talking to everyone. Dude, I never thought I would reach so high and I'll be able to create something called a distro.
Yeah.
I have gone
And now
so
it's a
far
distro
with
with Cappuccine themes.
don't mention Cappuccine. It's not my favorite.
And uwus.
Uwu and everything. There's all sorts. It's a wonderful,
Oh, yeah.
wonderful world of Linux with all
It's
its ups
definitely
and
been
downs.
it's been a ride.
I love. I'm gonna stick here forever and ever. I haven't booted Windows in over a year. I don't think I need it anymore, but I'm too scared to delete it
Yeah.
because I might need it for something at some point.
I have a few pieces of hardware that I need to boot into Windows to update the firmware with
It's
or what
always
have you,
needed.
and
It's
that's
always
it.
needed. Yeah. So I'm not gonna delete it anytime soon, especially that no matter how many times I install XeroLinux, Windows is still there. It never and Grub picks it right up. I never have issues with Grub because it's a
Nice.
completely separate drive. So it has its own bootloader on its own drive. Because I did it right. I did it right. If you
If
do
you
it
dual
right,
boot,
it's
please
gonna work.
use separate drives if you can.
Oh, not only
If you
that.
can.
Not only that, make sure you pull every single drive, disconnect every single drive before installing Windows. Because Windows from 10 onwards, I think, started willy-nilly. If it detects a second drive, it's going to put the bootloader on the secondary drive, but the OS on the main drive. So
It's probably self-preservation, is what I think
don't
that
know.
is.
I've had the issue with my
Who
dad
knows?
where it tried to boot, but the Windows drive was dead, but the bootloader was not dead. So I'm like, disconnect.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, cool.
anyway,
It can install the bootloader on other drives. Yeah, well, I mean, so can Linux.
yeah,
But at least it'll ask first.
it can install the bootloader on other drives. Yes, it can. This is Windows. I don't like Windows. I don't want to boot into Windows if I can help it. But yeah, the world of Linux has evolved so far.
So much.
The gaming has evolved on Linux, and Steam Deck is still number one. I'm playing Diablo 4 on the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
There are some areas where if I go to those areas, the Steam Deck is going to reboot. I think it's a patch that needs to be applied to the game or to the Steam Deck. I don't know. And I'm going to put a smile on that beautiful face of yours. The Steam Deck
boy,
is
what'd you
using
do?
Sweet.
Of course it should. That is the perfect place to use it.
And Diablo works at 40 FPS stable on that thing.
It's going to be a long time before I can afford a Steam Deck. I think what I'm going to have to do is do Steam Link on my iPad and call it a day.
Oh, sorry.
Did you forget to charge it?
No, exit. No, exit game. Confirm. Okay, Steam, power, switch to desktop. I want to show you the sweet.
All right. Gotta
the
love
sweet,
that.
Sweet
Sweet
theme.
Sweet theme.
Perfect on the Steam Deck.
On the Steam Deck. Gotta love it.
And not only that,
what a way to.
I created the script to finally every time there's a system update, I can, because it's immutable, I created a script that will bring this back.
I love it.
Yeah, finally I did it. Because, dude, I'm sick and tired of having to redo everything manually. So I and guess how I remembered what steps I did to get it to this point. I opened the bash history because bash has a history file. So I went through the history
You
and
just
I
copied
retraced
your
my
commands.
steps. I retraced my steps and I created in script form, and now it does everything in script form.
This isn't a Fedora Love Fest video. Wow. There's Josh. I knew he'd be here.
Hello, Josh. How are ya? You've been doing
about
good.
Wayland and Wayland, Gnome, and Nvidia, and you were not here to stir the pot. What happened?
Where were you, Josh? You were sleeping? Because oh yeah, because they stayed up late with Zany last night playing XeroAD. Yeah.
Eternally awake.
He's eternally awake. What, forever? You're awake forever? That's cool,
Made
Josh.
a deal with a vampire or something. Watch.
But I love that look on the Steam Deck. It's wonderful. It's the best style I've ever used on the Steam Deck. It goes with the Steam Deck, gives it the arcade feel.
Yeah.
So I was like, I created Sweet. I need to use it somewhere. I hate it on the desktop. Where else can I use it? Oh, the Steam Deck. So I put it on the Steam Deck. It's awesome.
What a fun way to wind down. I mean, we're coming to a close here. We're running just a little overtime today.
Yeah, it's 1 hour 10 minutes. So we didn't talk a lot about specific stuff today. It was all over the place because there's nothing major happening. The only thing major that happened like today was Debian Bookworm came out. Woohoo!
Personally hate the Sweet theme.
Yeah, Josh. I hate the Sweet theme too on a desktop, but on the freaking Steam Deck, it's beautiful. And
next week we'll get back to. Sorry, Steve. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say next week we're gonna go back to news articles if there's anything important that happens from now till then.
Did you at least mention Gentoo? We did not mention Gentoo once.
We didn't mention Gentoo once. No, this is not a Gentoo video. There, we mentioned it.
Oh,
this is not a Gentoo video.
There we go.
So with that being said, we're winding down. It was a good discussion. That's what the podcast is. Yeah. It's mostly discussion. Yeah. Listen, I want to make one thing clear.
Hanging out with our friends.
Yeah, and I want to make one thing clear. Matt's podcast, which will happen later tonight, is a news-based podcast. Ours is more like integrating the news into our discussion, not talking about the news and concentrating on the news. If there's something that is important that happened throughout the week, we throw it into the discussion, into the mix. But we don't concentrate as, we are not a news channel. Oh, this is what happened, da. No, we just integrated naturally part of the discussion. And I didn't have anything of the week because I've been working so hard on XeroLinux. And that's not for the upcoming releases. Everything we're doing now is people are getting access to immediately. It's not like the only thing that will change for the next release is we finally have our look, our signature look. We're optimizing it right now, Teddy and I. And that'll be the only thing that will change. Everything else is just package updates, and that's it. The Wayland script is already available for people to test and play around with. So nothing will be new in the upcoming release. It's just updated packages and the new final look. So it's part of the fun. Yes, Christina, my dear. I don't like to be focused on news. It's like us talking to you guys back and forth, and if there's something that happened, we integrate it into the discussion. No need to become a news outlet. If I want to become a news outlet, I would make videos similar to the Linux experiment, which are amazing, by the way, but
they're already
not my style.
They're good at what they do.
Yeah, not my style. My style is I like to talk, as you might have noticed. Poor Jesse barely gets in 2 words edgewise.
Oh, that's not true.
But I'm a talkative person. I am very hyper and interested in the Linux world. I like to talk about everything and anything about Linux, related to Linux. I love it. I am a big fanboy of Linux, Arch Linux specifically. With others, I like differently for different reasons, but Arch being my main focus.
Oh yeah, we are an Arch family here.
Yeah, Arch. Arch is where it's at. Well, anyway. All right, guys. Thank you for watching, and thanks for the $5 super chat, Alex, earlier. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. The chapters, the time-lapse will be, timestamps will be available in a bit after, once the episode is up. Thanks, Teddy, again.
Yep.
What can I say? Teddy, this heart will go to you forever and ever and ever.
Oh,
Teddy,
man.
he's like
he's
Teddy Bear Killer. His username might be Teddy Bear Killer, but he's a fluffy bear, cuddly bear, lovable bear. So don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell if you want to get notified. Join the channel if and when you can to support us. You will get early access to Zero Talk episodes when they happen. 2 weeks earlier before others, or support us on Patreon, on Ko-Fi, LiberaPay. What's the other one? Fundraiser with a ZR. All the links will be in the description. But as you can see in the box below, I started the June fundraiser for €500. Help us reach. We reached 75%. Thank you for everyone who allowed me to reach at least that far, which was amazing. I didn't expect I would reach 75%. So maybe this time we go the extra 25%, missing 25%, hopefully, before the end of the month.
I think we'll get it. I have a feeling that we're going to get it.
Because of the support and donations we're getting, the project continues, and there's a reason for me to continue.
Oh, yeah. Little non-0 bytes update. I'm actually going to be migrating away from Twitch and taking my my game and personal streaming over to YouTube. Twitch had a big update with branding, and they're limiting what kind and how much branding you can have on your stream to, if I remember correctly, somewhere around 3%. And my sponsorships don't allow for that. A lot of people's sponsorships require more. So in the coming weeks, when I'm not here, I'm not really going to be on Twitch that much. I'm migrating everything over to YouTube.
Best thing you do. Linus today was complaining about Twitch also.
Branding and stuff too. Yeah,
they updated their regulations and stuff.
It's going to absolutely cripple people that use on-stream branding for their sponsorships.
With the stickers,
because that's
what they're allowed to have in the background and stuff. Yeah,
that's the majority of where our sponsorship revenue comes from.
Yeah, no, they
And
want you to put only
the-
what they allow, and that's it, no more.
right.
Yeah,
Well,
Linus
yeah,
was complaining
so-
about it today on his WAN show. So,
Yeah.
welcome to YouTube.
Okay. Well, I mean, I've been here for a year with you now. It's working a lot easier. The integrations are better. I'm
When it
happy to be
comes
doing
to the what's it called, the decorate elements, stream elements, they don't integrate very
Yeah.
well into YouTube as much as they do on Twitch.
That's true, but OBS handles YouTube better
Yeah.
than it handles Twitch.
Because they don't have access to the API. YouTube limits access to the API. That's a problem with they have to pay a lot of money to get access.
We're starting a whole different podcast episode.
Yeah. Anyway,
we gotta wrap
all
this
right,
up,
guys. So with everything I said, all the links will be down in the description. And yeah, we'll catch you on the next episode. The next episode is going to have news that are going to be integrated into the discussion, as I said. Not going to talk about them specifically like on Matt's podcast. So don't worry about that. There will be news. Just you're not going to notice it's news because it's going to be part of our discussion. So with that being said, Dark Zero, I forgot my username. Dark Zero signing off.
All right.
Take care, y'all. Peace out.